Still struggling with complex navigation in SwiftUI? You're doing it the hard way. Learn how the coordinator pattern makes it easy with Async, Await, and MVVM. The app we will create will enable the user to navigate to different views using the coordinator pattern as seen on the screen. If I click on the Show Users button, it will populate the list with the user's payload. If I click on Show Products, it populates the list with the product's payload. Clicking on Orders, it populates the list with the orders payload. So this is the app feature that we will create in this tutorial. Don't forget to subscribe for more Swift and SwiftUI tutorials. So this is the endpoint that we'll be using. irisinsights.co.uk/data.json. The endpoint includes 3 arrays of JSON dictionaries, and these dictionaries include users, products, and orders. So this is the actual payload we'll be using within the tutorial to populate our views. The first thing we need to do is to create our codable structs. And the first struct will be products, which is a Swift file. Product. Struct. Product. Codable. Identifiable. Let ID int. Which is a unique identifier for the product. Then let name string. Let price double. Let category string. Let in stock tool, which will indicate if the product is in stock or out of stock. Create an enum for our coding keys. Case ID, name, price, category, in stock is equal to in stock. On lines 22, for the coding keys at the end, there shouldn't be an S, it should just be coding key. So on line 24, we map the ID, name, price, category, and in-stock properties to the respective keys within the JSON data or the JSON payload. The next codable struct we need to create is called order So we create another Swift file, click on next, type in order, struct, order, codable, identifiable, let ID, int, let products, IDs, product ID, which is an array of IDs, total price, which is double, status, string, let order, date, string, and then we create another enum, coding keys, string, coding key, case ID, user, we missed one out, on line 14, that should be user ID, which is int, product IDs, should be product IDs, total price, status, and order date. Just compile it. Make the language translator functional. The first thing we need to do is register for an API key. In this lesson, we will create the downloading translation view. So within the application, when the user enters the text that they want to be translated, for example, if I enter hello, and I want that to be translated from English to Spanish, when I click on translate, you'll see a view above here, which will display the word downloading. Learn to build a language translator apps with SwiftUI Master UI Design, API integration, and hands-on projects. Enroll now and start building. The next codable struct we need to create is called user. So we create another Swift file, select, name the file user, struct, user, codable, identifiable, let ID, int, with the name variable, email variable, and a road variable. We need to create another enum for the coding keys, string, coding key, case ID, name, email, and road. For tomorrow's tutorial, we will implement the network manager layer that will call our endpoints. Don't forget to subscribe for more Swift and SwiftUI tutorials. Still struggling with complex navigation in SwiftUI? You're doing it the hard way. Learn how the coordinator pattern makes it easy with Async, Await, and MVVM. The app we will create will enable the user to navigate to different views using the coordinator pattern as seen on the screen. If I click on the Show Users button, it will populate the list with the user's payload. If I click on Show Products, it populates the list with the product's payload. Clicking on Orders, it populates the list with the orders payload. So this is the app feature that we will create in this tutorial. Don't forget to subscribe for more Swift and SwiftUI tutorials. Today we will create the network manager. The purpose of the network manager is to call the JSON API so our app will contain data. The first thing we need to do is to create a new Swift file. Name the file network manager. Then type the following: class network manager static let shared equals network manager. And the purpose of using a static shared instance of network manager is so that the shared instance can be used across the entire app. So there's only one instance. We also need to create our initializer, private init, and the next thing we need to do is to create our API response, which is a codable struct API response codable and then we need to define the data that our struct will include, which includes an array of users that will be retrieved from the API, an array of products, an array of orders to be retrieved from the API. The next thing we need to do is to create our fetch asynchronous function that will fetch the data from the provided URL. Func fetch data async throws API response guard let URL string https iOS insights.co.uk data.json. Else, if it's not a valid URL, we just return from the method via an error. If everything was okay, then we do the following, which is we perform the network request asynchronously using a URL session. The underscore means we're ignoring the response, we're not using the response. Await URL session dot shared data from URL. The next thing we need to do is to decode the data using our struct, JSON decoder, decode API response.self. And then we just return the results to the calling routine. Return response. I'll just compile it. In the next tutorial, we will create our order list view model. The purpose of the order list view model is to call the network manager layer by MVVM and also populate our view later on. Want to build your own Connect4 app? Now you can. Download the free source code and start building today. The link is in the description below. Still struggling with complex navigation in SwiftUI? You're doing it the hard way. Learn how the coordinator pattern makes it easy with Async, Await, and MVVM. The app we will create will enable the user to navigate to different views using the coordinator pattern as seen on the screen. If I click on the Show Users button, it will populate the list with the user's payload. If I click on Show Products, it populates the list with the product's payload. Clicking on Orders, it populates the list with the orders payload. So this is the app feature that we will create in this tutorial. Don't forget to subscribe for more Swift and SwiftUI tutorials. In this tutorial, we'll create our order list view model. The purpose of the order list view model is to call the network manager layer via MVVM and also to populate our views later on. First thing we need to do is to create a new Swift file. Name the file order list view model. Import SwiftUI, type the following: app main actor, class, order, list view model, observable object, it should be observable, to detect any changes within the class, and then to publish those changes that have been detected, we need a publish variable, var orders, which will contain an array of orders. So the view will be automatically updated because we're using at publish. We also need another at publish variable, which is called isLoading, equals false. And the purpose of the isLoading variable is to indicate whether the data is being fetched or not. It should be bool. We need another publish variable called error, which is optional to display any errors on our view. We need to create a new method called fetch orders. We also need a task. And we also need to assign isLoading to true, because now we're about to do our request, our network request. So we do our network request within the do block. Let data equals try await network manager dot shared dot fetch data. Orders equals data dot orders. So we update the orders property with the data fetch from the network. It should be data dot orders. And then the next thing we need to do is to attempt to capture any errors that may have happened. Failed to load orders. Error description. Error localization. Dot localize. Don't know why localized description is not coming up straight away. I think there's an error on line 31. It should be on line 31. It should be orders, not order. So we need an S at the end of order. So it should be orders. Data dot order So we need to rename the orders variable that we created on line 14. You just need to add an S at the end. It should be orders. Network Manager API response has no member orders. So let's go to the Network Manager. So on line 19 within the Network Manager class, that should have an S at the end of orders. So we just add the S. I'll go back and compile it. It should compile now. And it's compiled. So the next thing we need to do is to assign is loading equals false after line 35. And the reason why we need to assign it to false because our network request has completed. It's loading equals false. The next file we need to create is our order list view. And the purpose of the order list view is to display a list of our orders. So we need to create a new SwiftUI file. Name the file order list view. Type the following: at observed objects var view model order list view model. And the next thing we need to do is to add our list and to retrieve each of the order items, the orders within our list. Add a B stack, alignment.leading, which will vertically clearly stack the order details. And then we also need a text element, order ID, it should be order ID, to show the ID of that order. For line 16, it should be viewModel.orders, so we need an S at the end of orders. We also need to display the total price of the order. Which is order total price, specifier, which will be in 2 decimal places. And we also need a status of the order. Order.status. We can delete our preview if we're not using it at the moment. My MacBook is a little bit too slow for that sometimes, because I need a new MacBook. And the next thing we need to do is to call our .onAPair method and then attempt to fetch the orders from our view model. The navigation title is called orders. So I need an overlay to show a loading indicator or to show the error message. If view model is loading, progress view, so we just show loading as a caption. Else, if let error equals view model error, if there's an error, then we show the error message within the text element, and we color the text of the error to red using foreground color .red. Let's compile it. In the next tutorial, we will implement the product list view model. Really, we should have used like generics to make the code more like reusable. But I've done that in previous tutorials anyway. So if you look at my video collection on my channel, you'll see like generic examples of how to call web service using generics. So that's for the next tutorial when we implement our product list view model. It's similar to the order list view model, but it just calls the products API. Don't forget to subscribe for more Swift and SwiftUI tutorials. Still struggling with complex navigation in SwiftUI? You're doing it the hard way. Learn how the coordinator pattern makes it easy with Async, Await, and MVVM. The app we will create will enable the user to navigate to different views using the coordinator pattern as seen on the screen. If I click on the Show Users button, it will populate the list with the user's payloads. If I click on show products, it populates the list with the products payloads. Clicking on orders, it populates the list with the orders payloads. So this is the app feature that we will create in this tutorial. Don't forget to subscribe for more Swift and SwiftUI tutorials. In this tutorial, we will create the product list view model. The purpose of the product list view model is to call the network layer via MVVM and also to populate our views later on. A better solution is to use generics as mentioned in the previous tutorial. I have other videos on my channel that shows how to use generics with Async and JSON integration. If you want the direct links to those videos, then please let me know. The first one we need to do is to create a new file, Swift file. Name the file product list view model. As you can see, it's similar to the other file that we created in the previous tutorial. At main actor, we also need to import SwiftUI. The name of the class is called product list view model, which implements observable object. And then, just like what we've done in the previous tutorial, we need to create our publish variables that will publish any changes and update our view. So that holds an array of products, and then we need our publish is loading variable that will detect if the loading has completed or not. We need another variable called @publish bar error, which will show any errors on our UI. That could be fetching errors or any type of errors really. Just like what we had in the previous video, as I said, it's very similar. We need a method called fetch products. In the previous video, I think it was called fetch orders, but this one's called fetch products because it will fetch a list of products. We need to do that fetch within our task because it's an asynchronous task using async and await. Is loading true? And then to do, no, that should be that bracket there. And then to do the actual network request, we need to type the following: let data equals try await manager, and that should be manager. Network manager should be network manager dot shared dot fetch data. And then we type in products get a reference to the product within our data array. And then we attempt to capture any errors that might have happened. Error, failed to load product, error.localize description. Now that we have finished with the network request, we can set is loading to false. I'll just compile it now, see if it's correct or not. So that's compiled. The next thing we need to do is to create our new file, which is a SwiftUI file. The name of this file is called product list view. The purpose of that file is to enable the user to retrieve and display all of their products using that view. So let's create a new file, SwiftUI file. Name the file product list view. It should be view, product list view, click on create. We can delete our preview, as I said in the previous tutorial, because my MacBook is so slow, it doesn't always generate the previews. And even if it does generate it, it can take a lot of time to generate the preview, so it makes the video longer. So to shorten the videos, a lot of the times I don't use the previews until I can purchase my new MacBook. Observed object var view model product list view model. And then what we need now, on line 15 we can delete the text element. We need to cycle we need to cycle within our view model products array, and then within each of our products we need to use a VStack, and within our VStack we will display each of our products. That includes a product name, that should be alignment. The product name and also the product price. As you can see, it is very similar to our other view. So because it's so similar, what I will do, I'll copy and paste from our orders, from our product list. Which one was it? From our orders list. So I'll just copy line 21. Really, this should be a reusable view as well. So that should be product price. And for the font, that should be sub headline. For the style, foreground color. For the font color, that should be dot gray. And then we need dot on a pair to call our fetch product method within our view model. Navigation title, the navigation bar title. That should be products. And then, as we've done in the previous tutorial, we need our overlay, which will show the progress, if anything is being downloaded or not, using our progress view with the caption loading. And if there's any errors, it will also show any errors within our text element, where the foreground color of the errors will be red. So the error message will be displayed in a red color. I'll just compile this view. In our next tutorial, we will implement the users list view model and our users list view that will display the list of users. Don't forget to subscribe for more Swift and SwiftUI tutorials. Still struggling with complex navigation in SwiftUI? You're doing it the hard way. Learn how the coordinator pattern makes it easy with Async, Await, and MVVM. The app we will create will enable the user to navigate to different views using the coordinator pattern as seen on the screen. If I click on the Show Users button, it will populate the list with the user's payloads. If I click on Show Products, it populates the list with the product's payload. Clicking on Orders, it populates the list with the orders payload. So this is the app feature that we will create in this tutorial. Don't forget to subscribe for more Swift and SwiftUI tutorials. In this tutorial, we will create the user list view model and the user list view. The purpose of the user list view model is to retrieve the data from the network manager, and then the user list view model will then populate the data so that it can be used within the user list view. So the first thing we need to do is to create a new Swift file called user list view model. User list view model. Import SwiftUI. at main actor, class, user list view model, observable object to detect any changes within the class, at publish by users, user create an array of users, at publish var is loading equals false, at publish var error string optional, that will detect if there's an error or not. As you can see, similar to the other view models that we created, func fetch users, we will be creating on the course. The application includes 3 buttons on the main menu, which are create to-dos, list all to-dos, or to-do stats. Clicking on create to-dos enables the user to add a new to-do. For example, I'll create one right now. The to-do is to collect relative from airport. Master core data and build real apps like to-do lists with notifications, pie charts, and address lookup. Learn advanced SwiftUI techniques and gain the skills to create professional apps. Join now and start your journey. The next thing we need to do is to create a asynchronous task to perform the network request using async. Wait, is loading equals true. We need a do block. Let data equals try await network manager shared fetch data. So the purpose of lines 28 is to return an API response that includes the objects within the JSON payload. Users equals data.users. Patch self.error. Failed to load users. Error.localize description. Since we have now completed the network request, we can set is loading to false. I'll just compile it. compiled. So the next thing we need to do is to create our user list view. So we need to create a new SwiftUI view. Name the file user list view. Similar to the previous view that we created in the previous tutorial. So the first thing we need to do is so let's see if the preview will work, because most times it doesn't work on my Mac. So I'll just try it now. So call it mock view model equals user list view model. Create a new instance of that, and then pass the view model. And we need to create that first on lines 10 at observable object var view model user list view model. And now let's see if it will load the preview. It should just display hello world at the moment. But as I said, most times on my Mac it takes such a long time to display the view within the preview. That's why I don't really use it at the moment. Whilst it's trying to display the preview, let's just continue to type the rest of the code. So what do we need now? After line 13, we need a list to display the elements of the view model to display the users. So we need to go for the users array, user in, within the closure, cut that text element, put it on line 16, user.name to display the user's name within the list. So as you can see, the preview is not being displayed. It's just really slow. Dot on appear if view model dot users is empty. So what that does, it will fetch the users only if they haven't been loaded as yet. Then view model dot fetch users, and then we need, it's displaying it now, and then we need navigation bar title, which is called users. Make the preview a bit smaller, make it fit in the window a bit better. The navigation bar title is on the wrong line, so that should be after lines 23. And then we just add our overlay that we added in the previous tutorial. Really, all of this should be reusable because this code has been duplicated. Progress, view, should be progress, view, loading. So it just shows loading to the user as a caption, so that the user knows that there's something going on or they need to wait for something. And this will show any errors that has happened. Text error, show the actual error in the red font color. And then navigation bar title. I don't know why it doesn't like that. Let's type it again. Navigation bar title. That looks correct. Don't know why it doesn't like it. Let me just comment it out and try to compile it with them. I must have missed out a bracket somewhere. So let's try to fix that. But it seems like the problem is to do with the foreground color. That should be red and not read. So it happened to the OBS. I don't know where the Xcode IDE has gone. Xcode just exited, it just crashed. So I think the issue is to do line 36. That should be red and not read. So let's compile it again. It's working. In the next tutorial, we will implement the app coordinator class, which is the central point for switching between different screens within the application. Don't forget to subscribe. Still struggling with complex navigation in SwiftUI? You're doing it the hard way. Learn how the coordinator pattern makes it easy with Async, Await, and MVVM. The app we will create will enable the user to navigate to different views using the coordinator pattern as seen on the screen. If I click on the Show Users button, it will populate the list with the user's payloads. If I click on Show Products, it populates the list with the product's payload. Clicking on Orders, it populates the list with the orders payload. So this is the app feature that we will create in this tutorial. Don't forget to subscribe for more Swift and SwiftUI tutorials. In this tutorial, we will create the App Coordinator class that manages and controls the navigation of different views within our app. The first thing we need to do is to create a new Swift file. Name the file App Coordinator. Import SwiftUI. Type the following: main actor, class App Coordinator, observable object, to detect any updates within the class. And then we need to publish those changes to the UI to refresh the view. We also need to create 3 more observe objects: at observe object bar user list view model, user list view model, at observe object bar product list view model, which is a product list view model variable, at observe object bar order list view model, which is an order list view model. So these 3 observable objects that we created, or variables, these models are passed in from the parent view and then used to manage the data and logic within each of the views. We also need to create our initializer. I'll create this way. I'll just type it manually. Init user list view model, user list view model, product list view model will be a product list view model object or data type. Order list view model will be an order list view model data type. So now we initialize our private variables. User list view model self dot product list view model equals to product list view model self dot order list view model is equal to order list view model. And then the next thing we need to do is to set the initial view to the user's list view. So this is the first screen that will be shown on the start of the app, on the app start. So we need to type in current view, any view, user list view, we pass in our view model, user list view model. That will be the first data point. That will be the initial or the default data payload that will be displayed on the first view, which is the user list view when the app is first displayed. Need a function called show user list. Current view equals any view user list view, and then we pass in the user list view model. So that is to show the user list view with the user's data, and then to show the products list, we do a similar thing. Current view equals any view product list view, pass in the view model for product list view. And then we display the orders list view, show orders, current view equals any view order list view, pass in our view model, which is our order list view model. On line 38, there should be open bracket, close bracket for the function. I'll just compile it. In the next tutorial, we will implement the app coordinator view. And the purpose of the app coordinator view is for displaying the main app UI and coordinating and navigating between the different views and data such as users, product, and order views. Don't forget to subscribe for more Swift and SwiftUI tutorials. Still struggling with complex navigation in SwiftUI? You're doing it the hard way. Learn how the coordinator pattern makes it easy with Async, Await, and MVVM. The app we will create will enable the user to navigate to different views using the coordinator pattern as seen on the screen. If I click on the Show Users button, it will populate the list with the user's payload. If I click on Show Products, it populates the list with the product's payload. Clicking on Orders, it populates the list with the orders payload. So this is the app feature that we will create in this tutorial. Don't forget to subscribe for more Swift and SwiftUI tutorials. In this tutorial, we will implement the App Coordinator view for displaying the main app UI and coordinating the navigation between users, products, and orders views. The first feature we will create is the Show Users list. So the first thing we need to do is to create a new SwiftUI file. Name the file App Coordinator View. And then we need to add our app state object variable. App state object private var coordinator app coordinator. And the purpose of line 12 is to initialize the coordinator directly using the app state variable, which ensures it's created and managed by SwiftUI. The next thing we need to do is to create our initializer, which will be, that should be user list, view model, user list, view model, and then it takes another parameter of product list, view model, which is a data type of product list view model. The final parameter is order list view model, which is a data type of order list view model. You can delete line 16, needed. And type the following: coordinator equals state object that value app coordinator. We need the overloaded one, which is the second one. And then we pass in the user list, view model, and the product list view model, also the order list view model. So to enable our preview to work, we need to create the mock view models. So to do that, we just type the following, which is let user list view model equals user list view model. Let product list view model equals product list view model. Let order list view model that should be order list. Let order list view model equals order list that should be product list, and mine's 27, and we don't need the brackets either. Just yeah, we do need the brackets. 928, that should be, yeah, it should be a capital P. So we have our instances there for our mocks. Now we pass our instances to our app coordinator view, initializer. So just type in user list view model product list view model order list view model. And now we can start to implement some of our view. Lines 20, that can be deleted. We need navigation view. Restack text element with a caption. Welcome to the store. Font. Large title. Font weight. Bold. Padding. Top 50. Foreground color. And it should be foreground color. Black, which will set the text color to black. And then we add spacer to push the content to the top. Next thing we need to do is to get another VStack. Spacing 20. That will enable 20 pixels between each of the elements, such as the button we need to create. And the button action when we click on the button action, it will call the coordinator show user list. To populate the list with user data. Need a HStack image, system name, person.3.fill, font, title 2, foreground color, white, text, and show users for the button, caption for the button, font, headline, foreground color for the text will be white, padding, reading, 10, and then after line 44 we have the following: padding, to add padding around the button to make it more clickable, frame, width, infinity, and that will make the button take up the full width of the container. And also make sure that each of the buttons are the same size. Got background, color, blue, corner radius, 10 for rounded corners for the button. But the preview is still not working. Don't know why the preview is not working. Let me try it another way. I'll try it another way. So at the top of the name of the struct, struct, app coordinator, preview, preview provider, static, var, preview, some view. Let's see if this way works. And this is the old-fashioned way. Let's see if it works. See, you can see why I don't use the previews. It just takes such a long time on my Mac. Into preview, finally worked. As you can see, we created our button. In the next tutorial, we'll add other buttons that will be fully aligned correctly and displayed how it should be. So in the next tutorial, the button feature that we will add will be to show the order list and also show the product list button. That's in the next tutorial. Don't forget to subscribe for more Swift and SwiftUI tutorials. Still struggling with complex navigation in SwiftUI? You're doing it the hard way. Learn how the coordinator pattern makes it easy with Async, Await, and MVVM. The app we will create will enable the user to navigate to different views using the coordinator pattern as seen on the screen. If I click on the Show Users button, it will populate the list with the user's payload. If I click on Show Products, it populates the list with the product's payload. Clicking on Orders, it populates the list with the orders payload. So this is the app feature that we will create in this tutorial. Don't forget to subscribe for more Swift and SwiftUI tutorials. In this tutorial, we will create our show product list and our show orders list button. So similar to what we've done in the previous tutorial, we can copy the lines between 32 and 49. And paste the button. This button is for product list. So we need to change a few of the elements, such as the system name image. This will be cart.fill, and the method we need to call on the coordinator is show product list. And for the text element, this should be show products. The color should be green. And what else do we need? Corner radius is 10, which is already there. And then we need to paste our final button, which is the show orders list. Show order list. For the system image, that should be bag.fill. Foreground color is white. Title is 2. The text element for the caption should be show orders. Headline, 4-color white. Leading is 10. Then the padding frame.infinity color orange. And then what we need to do is to create a horizontal padding for the entire V stack containing the buttons. So we type the following: padding dot horizontal Next thing we need to do is to add a flexible space to push the content towards the bottom. So we add a spacer. The next thing we need to do is to display the current view managed by the coordinator. So we type the following: coordinator dot current view. And then we need to add our navigation bar title, display mode of inline. Navigation title equals main menu. And for the background color, which is grey, opacity is 0.1. I had to restart Xcode because the previews weren't working properly. So yeah, this is the actual layout of the UI. So if I click on show users, it shows the users. Click on show products, it gets the products. Show orders, and it gets the orders. And this is all done using the coordinator pattern with async and await. Don't forget to subscribe for more Swift and SwiftUI tutorials.